This is my channel, and today's Star Trek Lower Decks review is on Season 1, Episode 4, Moist Vessel. We have our regular cast of players: Brad Boimler, Devanna Tendi, Beckett Mariner, and Sam Rutherford. We also have our cast of secondary players: Captain Carol Freeman, Commander Jack Ransom, Lieutenant Commander Shax, and Lieutenant Commander T'Ana. My summary goes thusly. The Cerritos is given an important mission to help an old friend of the captain secure and transport a valuable derelict ship to a nearby starbase for study. Meanwhile, the captain believes that she may have the perfect plan for dealing with her wayward daughter, and Tendi learns a valuable lesson. We open with the Cerritos doing a flyby and a captain's log by Captain Freeman. They are working with the USS Merced, another California-class starship, relocating a lost generational ship, and I love the design. It's very insectoid. Looks a lot similar to the Dawn Ornithopters from the new Dune, not the old Dune. This is a classic TOS-style episode, and the first time a cold open is actually helping with the episode. The design in the series so far have been very good when it comes to ships, except for the Klingon ship, but I can forgive them one bad go so far. The internal shots of the ship are just as impressive, and the life fluid is also a wonder. And it's a wonder how they have that, but they don't appear to have a warp drive. Otherwise they wouldn't need a generational ship. Mariner, being Mariner, is being a major bitch during the captain's briefing about what is going to be happening during the mission. Starfleet want to study the fluid, so they are towing it to a nearby starbase so they can study it properly. And then the credits roll. Well, not so much the credits, but the main titles. We return to find a flustered Carol and an uncaring Mariner. Carol is trying to get Mariner to understand her position, only for her to be uncaring. She saunters out of the captain's private office, giving her mother a sarcastic Vulcan salute. And I have to say, if I was doing that to my dad, he would have whooped my ass. Especially if I had embarrassed him at a works do or gathering. No. As she leaves, Ransom enters with the sensor data they need, and as the captain wonders what to do, he comes up with what may just be the solution, and it's as devious as it is cunning. Assign her the worst jobs on the ship, so she will want to leave, leaving Carol's hands completely clean. We cut to the sleeping corridor and Boimler's favorite part of the day, assignment time. He celebrates getting conference room cleanup. Rutherford gets monitoring power fluctuations in the tractor beam when he wanted to monitor fluctuations in the impulse drives. Again, my man, love the dedication, but you need a hobby, my guy. Tendi rushes in, practically bouncing, telling him and everyone else that she is going to witness an ascension. A crewman on the Cerritos is going to try and ascend from their mortal body and become a being of pure energy, like the ancients in Stargate SG-1, or the Vorlons Babylon 5, though they were more bound to the mortal plane than the ancients were. As she bolts away, Mariner checks her own duty assignments. Turbolift lubing, holodeck waste removal, and scraping carbon off the carbon filter. And I have to agree with Boimler here, that is Klingon prison stuff. We cut back to Tendi as she makes a hash of sitting quietly and meditating with him, accidentally ruining the whole ceremony and being adorably clumsy at the same time. But I have to say, O'Connor here, way out of line with shouting like that. Really, you're going off on her like that? This is her first time, dude. Calm down. We cut back to the dynamic duo as Mariner complains about having a large lunch when the first job she has to deal with is holodeck waste removal. And I cannot even begin to imagine the depth of the filth that those filters have had to clean up. The entire open depravity of not just the human imagination, but the imaginations of every crewman aboard. Can you imagine the filth that is in those filters? Oof, turns my stomach just thinking about it. Boimler gives her a taste of her own sarcastic Vulcan salute as he saunters off, just like she did to her mother. So, with a groan of disgust, she gets started. We cut to the holodeck as she removes containers containing putrid sewage. You can see visible green smoke coming from there. That is just pure disgust. While trying to breathe. Oof, yeah, nasty. Again, frickin' foul. We cut to the turbo lift, and she is greasing the bearings on the top of the lift. But why, Shax, why do you ignore a warning sign like that? He uses the turbo lift with Mariner at the top, drenching her in lift lube. Oh, nasty. Though he does apologize, but you expect more from Shax. Really do. And finally, the last of the disgusting jobs today. Carbon scraping. But this time, she is surrounded by just as bored and just as tired members of the crew. So, she arranges to make it a little more interesting. And God bless humanity's need for entertainment. A passing ransom gives the bad news to the captain. Well, he rushes off to give her the bad news anyway. We cut to Rutherford, loving life, monitoring the fluctuations as the two ships synchronize their tractor beams to tow this behemoth insectoid ship to the starbase. Dude, hobby. Think about it, seriously. We cut to Tendi, trying to make things right, and he is being very disrespectful. How dare he do that to Tendi? She gives him a meditation aid metronome, and he smashes it. What a prick. We cut to the bridge, and Captain Freeman is PO'd. Her plan is failing. Ransom explains that she is finding little pieces of joy to inject into the job to make them more bearable. You know, the standard coping mechanisms for working jobs you don't really want to do. Ransom leaps to his feet, defending himself by shouting he got her emptying crap out of the holodeck crap filter. I did not want, nor did I need, or indeed wish, to know what people are doing in there. With the crew subtly and suitably disgusted, they make their way to the captain's ready room. My God, Carol, why talk about that plan in the open like that? If some of these people are her friends, they will get back to her with it. Unable to fathom finding joy in cleaning out the holodeck filters, she goes back to the drawing board. And unable to help himself, Ransom begins to pose and flex like a dick. Seriously, my guy, not the time for this. But his flexing gives Carol a plan. She comes up with a plan so cunning, so diabolical in its subtlety, and so evil that it could be filed under the subtle, hateful title of "You Bitch." She calls Mariner to the ready room. Blackadder and Baldric would be very proud of this plan. The fiendish woman promotes her to Lieutenant Full Pip. Not one gold pip, one black pip, no, double gold pip. Her personal nightmare. She hands her a gold shirt as Boimler starts freaking out, and she is forced to join the meeting about office chairs. And I think in the background, Boimler is legitimately having a stroke. We see this plan in motion as she is forced to do the mission audit. Sounds fun, right? We cut to the mission briefing room, and the two captains and our favorite chief engineer from the Cerritos are monitoring the progress. Mariner is there with Ransom, auditing the away missions and then auditing the audit. Kill me now. Then she has to report for a team management training, which turns into a random musical concert where the captain is jazz scatting. Not a poop thing. A one-man show. F you, Carol. I hate one-man shows. Ugh. We cut to Tendi, who is trying again to help O'Connor, only for him to explode at her. Not going to be too harsh here. She is being annoying right now. And she's been annoying the F out of him for a little while. I can be on her side for a little bit, but again and again and again and again and again, eventually someone's going to break. You know what I mean? And he calls her his villain. Dun dun dun. Our boy Boimler is trying to think about how he can be bad after he has a little meeting with Mariner in the corridor and in her room, demanding to know how she got a promotion. And she just tells him exactly what she did. Nothing. She was being her usual bad self. And Boimler, as the evilest puppy around, comes up with his own nefarious scheme. Carol calls Mariner to her ready room to gloat like the villain she is. But, to her credit, Mariner resists temptation and refuses to be reassigned. And if I had to sit and listen to that dick playing an acoustic guitar for hours, I would shoot them both. Especially with that. Who wants to hear Commander Ransom playing the acoustic guitar about that one time he went to Barcelona for hours? There is no patience in the world. We cut to the Marced as Captain Durango has gone rogue because during this entire time that she's been concentrating on dealing with Mariner, she's been pulling a Mariner on Durango, making him feel as if she is trying to take all the credit for this mission. They really need to get themselves in order. He moves his ship closer to the generational ship, and when Ransom tries to get him to return to position, he blows the commander off. Tellarite's got a Tellarite at the end of the day. This causes the older ship's hull to buckle, the tractor beams to then pull the terraforming fluid that was leaking from the ship's now open hull onto his own ship, and his ship begins to terraform. Nice job, man. You fried your ship over pride. I hope you have to pay for it out of pocket, really. There is a small explosion, and the fluid then gets pulled into the Cerritos tractor beam. And Ransom makes no attempt to cut the beam, he just tries to do evasive maneuvers. If I see the beam pulling that crap to the other ship, I'm cutting the beam and then doing evasive maneuvers. Come on, Ransom, get on your game. Boimler, with the worst timing possible, spills hot coffee on Ransom's lap as he's giving a sit rep to the captain. Angry puppy plan fails. Sad faces all round. We see Billups saving a blue shirt before using the force fields to stop the advance of gigantic vines that were threatening to kill them all. And Billups is joining the gold shirt boys stable of our dreams. We cut back to the mother-daughter duo still arguing as the terraforming traps them in Carol's office. We see the ship being overrun and overwhelmed by new environments. Rutherford barely dodging large rock formations as he bolts down the corridor. Engineering is being turned into an ocean as O'Connor and Tendi are trapped. And I have to say, that coral design, oh, that was beautiful. I like that. O'Connor blames Tendi, and they have a little heart-to-heart before a coral depth charge gets kicked loose by accident and nearly kills them both. O'Connor admits he was never going to ascend. It was his thing to try and make friends. Pretty sad pretending to be someone you're not to fit in, but I think it's very relatable to everyone, really. He was using Tendi as an excuse as to why he couldn't ascend, and declares that they are now best friends. We cut to the mother-daughter duo, still arguing over what rocks this time to save themselves and dig their way out. We get a little therapy session here as they talk out their issues. Mariner wants to make her own mistakes, while Carol wants her to follow in her footsteps so she doesn't. Mariner calls her out on her own BS as she was trying to force her to leave. We cut back to Tendi as she and O'Connor are trying to tread water as more and more coral depth charge begin to break forth, almost killing them. But then, Tendi, ever the intelligent girl and quick on her feet, gets a plan. And it's surprisingly good. She dives down, grabbing one of the depth charges and attaches it to the wall. It detonates, opening the wall, allowing them to be carried to relative safety by the current. But oh, they are not safe. O'Connor manages to save Tendi from falling rocks, only to be crushed under the rocks, seemingly to his own death. And this is where his redemption begins. We cut back to the duo as Mariner gives a plan on how to undo the terraforming. Have to say, after auditing all those documents, it came in pretty handy. This greatly impresses Carol and me, I have to be honest. I didn't know she was paying attention that well. We see some blue smoke reverse the terraforming, rendering the biomatter completely inert, reminiscent of the resolution in Masks, in the episode Masks in TNG, when they find that little trick to undo the whole thing, and everything just starts to return to normal. Yeah. With very little damage, given the amount of plant and animal life that was there. We cut to Tendi and O'Connor as the rock dissolves. They celebrate with a kiss as O'Connor begins to ascend, and ascend horrifically. And I have to ask, what's with the koala? And as he burns through his body and begins to ascend, he leaves Tendi behind, horrified, potentially traumatized, with nothing but his shoes. What the F was that? If I was there, I'd be freaked out too. Jesus. The mother-daughter duo save the Marced's crew by beaming them onto the generation ship before their life support gives out. They share a hug before breaking apart, slightly embarrassed. You shouldn't be embarrassed about hugging your parents, people. As they get communications from Admiral Vassery, or commendations from Admiral Vassery after the mission, Mariner uses that to get demoted. A well-deserved revenge. We cut to Tendi and Rutherford as she talks about what happened and how fine she is with not everyone liking her, which she isn't when Rutherford says that there are probably a few people who don't, and she tries to force him to tell her whom. Mariner is back and back in red. Sans one pip and everything as it was. Boymes is upset that she had everything he ever wanted and threw it away. He's understandably upset, but calms down when she reveals that she still has the access to Officer Food replicator codes. That cheers him right up, and she relaxes as Tendi is twisting Rutherford's arm, literally, to get him to tell who doesn't like her. This was probably my least favorite episode so far. I don't like Durango, the captain of the Merced, going rogue suddenly. It's not really done well enough, if you get my meaning. I know they got a half hour, they got to make it fit in, but I would like to see more of Carol just dismissing him, like she was in that one briefing they were together, because it has this one briefing and then it's like, oh no, okay, now he's going rogue. I didn't like that Carol was spending time to destroy Mariner's wishes, but she's been pretty consistent through the season, so I can't really get rid of that. Tendi was okay this episode. She was a bit overbearing towards the end, but I can understand some of it. Rutherford didn't really pay much attention to him, besides him wanting to check out power fluctuations in the impulse manifolds. But yeah, overall, it wasn't really great. It was a bit samey, a bit safe. The designs for the ships were really good. I liked the generation ship. I really did. I thought that was a really interesting design, not something we've seen before in Star Trek. The Merced, another California class, so can't really write home about that. This plan though, pretty devious. I'll give Carol that. That was a pretty devious plan. I give this episode 2.5 stars. I wanted a little bit more from this episode. We're now, well, almost halfway through the season, and everything's starting to feel like it's falling into a rut of same old, same old. Hopefully the next episode breaks the mold a bit. I also didn't like the name of this episode. Moist Vessel. Doesn't sound very appealing, does it? Not something they put into TNG or TOS. But I did like the biomatter that could terraform even inert and non-biological things into biological life. That was pretty cool. I hope that comes back to pay off later on in the series. I'd hate for that to be just a one and done. I'd like to thank you for making it this far in the video. If you liked it, please leave a like, leave a comment, and please subscribe. And I will catch you guys somewhere down that road.